To you who is watching this right now, you've been holding on to a person God already asked you to let go of. And I know it's not easy. Because when you've invested your heart, your time, your memories into someone, walking away doesn't feel like obedience. It feels like betrayal. You think, how could I just leave after everything we've been through? But here's a truth we don't like to admit. Some people were never meant to stay forever. They were only chapters in your story, not the whole book. And if you keep rereading the same chapter over and over again, you'll never discover the new story God is trying to write with your life. Sometimes following God means leaving behind what feels safe, what feels comfortable, even what feels familiar. And that's hard, because the familiar, even when it hurts us, still feels like home. You noticed something. Every time you tried to grow, they pulled you back down. Every time you tried to change, they reminded you of who you used to be. Every time you tried to walk in peace, they stirred up chaos. And yet you stayed, because you believed in them, because you saw their potential, because you thought your love could fix it. But hear me, God never asked you to fix people. He asked you to follow Him. So let me ask you, how long are you going to shrink yourself just to keep someone else comfortable? How long will you silence your own voice just to avoid confrontation? How long will you ignore the absence of peace in your heart just to pretend everything is fine? The Bible says in Amos 3:3, "Can two walk together unless they are agreed?" You can't walk in your God-given purpose while tied to people walking in the opposite direction. And no amount of prayer will change that. Even Jesus didn't beg Judas to stay. He loved him. He washed his feet. And then He let him go. God isn't asking you to hate them. He's asking you to release them. Release the need to be understood. Release the fantasy of what you hoped the relationship could be. Release the guilt, the what-ifs, the fear of starting over. Because on the other side of obedience, there is always blessing. What God has for you on the other side of letting go is greater than what you're losing in this moment. I know it's painful. They might have been your person. Maybe it was your best friend who knew every detail of your life. Maybe it was the one you imagined a future with. Maybe even family. And that's what makes this so hard. You don't just cut ties with someone who holds pieces of your story. But remember this, boundaries are biblical. Jesus loved everyone, but He didn't give everyone equal access. Peter, James, and John saw things the others never did. Trust is earned, access is tested, and if being around someone constantly drains you, if you have to beg for respect just to feel valued, that's not love, that's survival. And God did not call you to merely survive. He called you to live in peace, to live in joy, to live free from the cycles you've been praying to escape. So why does it hurt so much to let go? Because we confuse history with destiny. We assume that just because someone was part of our past, they automatically qualify for our future. But look at Abraham. When God called him, He said, "Leave your country, your people, your father's household, and go to the land I will show you." God was clear. Leave the familiar, because I'm about to do something new. And Abraham obeyed. The promise began to unfold. But here's what delayed him. He brought Lot, and from that point on, there was nothing but conflict, drama, and strife that God never intended. It wasn't until Abraham and Lot separated that God spoke to Abraham specifically. Letting go doesn't mean you're cold. It doesn't mean you're heartless. It means you're healed enough to stop needing what was breaking you. It means you trust God's voice more than your desire to be loved by someone who doesn't know how. You might be saying, but what if they change? And maybe they will, maybe they won't. But your healing cannot be on pause while you wait for someone else to figure it out. You move forward, you grow, you protect your heart, while you let God deal with theirs. Isaiah 43 says, "Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing, now it springs up, do you not perceive it?" That's not a suggestion, that's a command. God is doing something new in your life, but you'll miss it if you're still crying over what He already closed. So today, choose courage. Be brave enough to grieve what you've lost, but still believe in what's ahead. Be bold enough to walk away from what no longer serves your soul. Let go of them so you can finally hold on to you again. Because the future God has for you is too big, too precious, too holy to carry people who only want the version of you that's already gone. This isn't bitterness, this isn't pride, this is obedience, and obedience always leads to blessing. So let go. It's time.